Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Depression. Sorry, Atri, My Dear Moments. Excuse me there, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, welcome back guys. Because, yeah, depression is actually where we're probably heading with all of this. Yasuda has been taken care of. I think that might have been the climax of the story, or at least the big obstacle. And now, what I feel like is the remainder, like the very short remainder, how much we've got left, I have no idea, is going to just be the quite literal last few days with Atri being alive. Because, yes, she's dying. A gentle breeze is blowing up on the rooftop, so gentle you wouldn't possibly imagine what had occurred here yesterday. While that incident was happening, Ryuji was off having a meeting with our salvage client. He ran to school as soon as Rurika told him what was happening, but it was all over by the time he arrived. She's fine, she's doing club activities if you want to see her. She took enough punishment that ideally she'd be sent back to her manufacturer for repairs, but that's impossible for a number of reasons. Thanks to this, everyone's going to know that she's the humanoid that caused that incident 31 years ago, though. Yeah, we also, in the last episode, we did deal with Yasuda, that has been taken care of, but yeah, the truth behind Atri is now completely out there. She was the one that basically caused all the problems for her kind, for her make, her model that is. And the professor that actually led to making this model, well, his life was ruined, or at least his reputation was. So his underling in Yasuda was the one who wanted to get revenge, and this was the exact model. It was Atri all along that caused the problems. And it all ties together with the fact that her master was Natsuki's mother. It was never his grandmother. So, yeah, wild how all of that worked out. There are probably still people in this town who remember it happening. Even if they don't remember, if they find out that Atri is a fugitive with a bounty on her head, it could be trouble. I could hide her like my grandmother did, but she only has 4 days left. I want those last days to be as normal as possible. What do you mean? Well, I'd hope so. If you say so. I don't quite know how far that goodwill will stretch, but Ryuji knows this town well. I could probably trust his words. How did the meeting go, by the way? So we'll just need to connect it to Eden, and the whole town will be able to use it? That's if Eden's generators are still working, that is. Yeah, the thing is that we've got quite a few things that we need to wrap up here. The school is in good shape, no worries there. Atri's life is about to end. We still don't know what her last order was, if she's able to even accomplish it at this point. But also, on Eden, there was an area for her to, lay rest. She can control Eden. That is where she can go to, die. To pass on to, if you will. So there's also all of that, but then there's also Atri's mission, or I guess the promise. She needs to see Natsuki get back over to the academy. We'll need to talk to Atri first. Yeah, there's quite a few things that we got to wrap up here with this story. Uh-huh. Hey, it wasn't me. He's a cool guy. Shut your face. He might be kind of a lunkhead, but he's a decent man. Will the club be going for much longer?
今日は今までのおさらいだったから。はい、復習をしました。もうバッチリです。
and then lose it all tomorrow. I notice her logbook is full of recipes. Looks like I'll be eating well tonight.
アトリちゃん、ほら、
She pushes her forward.
心の準備が。私まだ心初心者なので。
んだよ、まどろっこしいな。言いたいことがあるならさっさと言えっての。って何すんだみなも。
His face contorts as she pinches his side.
ですね、夏希さん。実は折り入ってお話ししたいことが。
Okay. What's with that wording? I wait for her to respond, but she seems to be struggling to speak. Should we go back to the boat first?
私たちお邪魔みたいだから帰ろっか。
That works too.
は？いいじゃねえか別に。俺まだ来たばっかだし。
よくないの。ほら行こう、リュウちゃん。私もリュウちゃんと相談したいことがあるし。
おお、押すなって。
Minamo shoves Ryuji out of the classroom.
頑張れ、アトリちゃん。はいです、みなも部長。
Now that we're alone, Atri takes a deep breath.
さあ、私、
Come on, out with it already. Let's hear it.
ことがありまして、つまり私は。
Her face burns bright red and she stares down at the ground.
ダメです。言えません、みなも部長。
This really must be something serious if she's having so much trouble saying it. I might have to be the one who moves things along. Would you go somewhere with me right now? I think that should have had a would you want to go somewhere. But Atri startles and raises her head.
どこへですか？
Anywhere. I just want to go somewhere with you.
それって、デート？
Well, I suppose you can call it that. Her face flushes somehow even more red and she averts her gaze again.
はい、行きましょう。
She bolts for the door only to stop in her tracks looking down at her feet.
一度、船に戻ってもいいですか？
Oh, you're gonna put the other shoes on. I already
ど
know.
う
I
して
already
も
know.
です。夏希さんはここで待っててください。
With that, she sprints out of the room at full speed. It's like she doesn't want to waste a single second. I mean, there's not a whole lot of time left to spare. I mean, if you were told that you had 96 hours left to live, you know, what were you gonna go and do? I decide to wait for her outside the school. This is kind of fun, waiting for a girl to arrive for a date. We normally spend so much time with each other that having this moment apart makes this whole experience feel so much more date-like.
浮かれた顔してるわね。
Hello, Catherine. Great, here comes someone to spoil my mood.
そんなところで何をぼーっと突っ立ってるの？
I'm waiting for someone. I don't tell her it's Atri. It just feels kind of embarrassing. She knows who it is. Do you need something? If so, hurry up and tell me.
いいえ、窓から見えたから。
Can't this old soak leave me be? God damn. I don't want her to know I'm waiting for a date. And there she is. Atri comes running toward me, waving eagerly.
何よ、待ってるのってアトリ？なんで今ごまかしたの？
Oh, no reason.
ははさては。
Yeah, you see, you admitted it by being all suspicious about it. She grins. Here comes some kind of humiliation.
ま、ちょうどよかったわ。
Huh?
お待たせしました。
What do you need to go back to the ship for anyway?
それは、もしもし。
What? I look her up and down, nonplussed. Catherine elbows me in the side with enough force to give me bad flashbacks to yesterday.
鈍い男ね。足元見てみなさい。
Her feet. Ah. Come on, even I knew. I knew. And I'm not even there in the story. I'm here, reading the story. Instead of her beaten up old loafers, she's wearing the new sandals I bought her.
女心を察してやりなさいな。鈍感男。
Hey, you know, oblivious MC, it is what it is. Shut up, Mrs. Drunk. Why are we saying Mrs.? She's not married to anybody. I suppose I should thank her, but no. Atri?
はいです。
Those sandals are really cute. They suit you perfectly.
ありがとうです。せっかくのデートだから履きたいなって思って。
Yeah, you didn't have to say that out loud, but it is what it is. Let's go. There's a certain someone here ruining the atmosphere.
待ちなさい。
Catherine takes a step closer to
昨
Atri.
日のこと、それから学校に来るなと命令したこと、謝るわ。ごめんなさい。あんたをないがしろにし、結果危険にさらした。謝る必要はありません。夏希さんから聞きました。キャサリンは学校の生徒と私と両方を守るためにそうしてくれたんだって。そんなんじゃないわ。生徒のためにあんたを切り捨てようとしたのよ。でもあなたは私のことも自分の
Yeah,
生徒だ
there's
って
your
言ってくれま
contradiction
し
right
たよ。
there, Catherine.
それはありがとうございました。さあ行きましょう。
Atri takes my hand, bouncing up and down like an excited little kid. Catherine watches us walk off with a troubled expression.
あんたみたいな勉強熱心な子、見てて嬉しくならない教師はいないのよ。
See, Atri is a peculiar one, right? But you can kind of understand her in a way. It's because of how close she is to being a human that you can kind of understand where she's coming from. You know? I mean, should I blame her for causing harm to one of the students? Yeah, probably. But if somebody was harming somebody that you loved in your life for, whatever level, romantic or family-wise, whatever, you would do whatever it took to protect that family member. Would that mean, breaking the arms of the person doing the harm? I don't know. I really don't know. But she went above and beyond, trying to do whatever it took. So, yeah, I don't know. The two of us walked through the market district hand in hand like we have many times before. Today, though, Atri is grinning particularly widely. A while back, she would have been bouncing around and singing, but she's oddly quiet now. She really has changed since yesterday. I'm going to say that that's a good sign. She's aware of her own emotions, but she doesn't quite understand how to deal with them yet. This presents something of a chance for me. How so? I'll confess my feelings to her again and tell her that I love her. This time, she'll really understand how I feel. I'm sure it'll go fine. She loves me too, I know it. Oh, I respect the confidence there, buddy. I'm glad that Ryuji gave me a little advice earlier. What was his advice?
気をつけろよ、夏。女はな、思わせぶりな態度を見せて気を引くくせに、実は何でもないってのがありえるんだ。
Sorry, I was getting some water, but no, I agree. Actually, I've been there. Not like in such a, just like that. Like they quite literally on the spot will just turn around and do that. But no, like there are some cases where, and I'm pretty sure it's like just a huge misunderstanding of, what you thought they felt or whatever, or what they were saying or whatever. It sounds like he's got experience with this. Don't worry, Ryuji, we'll be okay. I'm sure Atri wouldn't do that. Well, not sure as such, but to be honest, when I confessed to her before, I was only half sure that she would feel the same way. But when I told her I loved her yesterday, no chance I love you, you know? And a human always wants to protect the ones they love. That has to mean that she loves me back, right? That has to outweigh what Ryuji said, surely. There's no way to know if she loves me in the same way I love her, though. I just have to be very, very careful of how I do this. While I'm lost in thought, Atri stares at me absent-mindedly. Huh? What's that look for? What's with all these, like, inner thoughts that everybody's having here in this one?
どこへ行きましょうか。
Well, I'm a little thirsty, so how about we go to a cafe, or maybe...
フルーツ
Oh yeah, you love those things, right? The fruit bar stall is out in the market again today, selling all manner of delicious-looking skewers. Which one would you like?
パイナップルがいいです。甘酸っぱいんですよ。
Okay, then I'll have the melon. Personally, I'm not a pineapple person myself, guys. Sorry to break it to you. We walk along chewing on the sweet fruit, exactly like on our first date.
甘酸っぱいです。
Want to try the melon too?
じゃあ、パイナップルを一口あげます。
Ah, these fruit bars are the best. They quench your thirst and they let you share a cute moment like this. Sweet in multiple ways. Thank you, fruit bar lady. I shouldn't get ahead of myself though. I can't get carried away like I did on our first date.
おいしいです。おいしいは嬉しいです。ということは、私は喜んでいるのでしょうか。
Yeah, probably. She falls silent, staring at the pineapple standing inertly on its stick.
私は今、夏希さんと喜びを分かち合えているんでしょうか。
Yeah, probably. Indeed we are.
だといいのですが。
I remember those words my mother said to her. Come on, smile. It's weird if I'm the only one smiling. As harsh as they seem, I can understand how she felt. I wanted to share so many happy and fun times with Atri, knowing that we were in love. But it was all one-sided until now. I've said even worse things to her than my mother. And all this time, Atri was agonizing over her inability to share her emotions. Even now she's struggling. Nah, she's got this. Atri is so focused on chomping away at the pineapple that her foot catches on something and she nearly topples over. I'm just able to grab her and keep her upright.
すみません。この靴だと歩きにくくて。
What they lack in utility, they more than make up for in cuteness. Atri seems slightly annoyed by their impracticality, but she doesn't seem to mind too much. What's up?
その代わり、いつもより顔が近いのです。
They probably give you like what, just an inch or two? She clutches onto me, face burning red. This has definitely got to mean she loves me. My heart sings, only to be roughly silenced by Ryuji's sad past. Calm down, Natsuki. You can't assume a humanoid like Atri will obey the same kind of common sense as humans. If I don't care, I'll end up heartbroken again. If I don't take care. I think that's what they said. I'm not checking. A passing old man calls out to us. Hello there.
こんにちはです。
And this kind of thing happens frequently when I walk around with Atri.
アトリちゃん、なんか大変だったみたいだね。
全然へっちゃらですよ。この通り。
アトリちゃんのこと悪く言うやつがいたら、おっちゃんとこ来な。
ありがとうです。
Yeah, she's got the whole town on her side still. The whole town seems to know about what happened yesterday, and that probably means they know what happened all those years ago too.
そうだよ。俺たちアトリちゃんの味方だからな。
Another man wanders over to us, followed by another. Soon there's a whole crowd thronging around us. Every single person has kind words for Atri.
しかしたまげたよ。アトリちゃんがあの時のヒューマノイドだったとは。
You know what happened then?
そりゃあ、あん時俺は小学生だったからね。クラスは違ったが同じ学校に通ってた。でもな、ありゃしょうがないよ。ひでえいじめだったもん。
Yeah, honestly.
俺らも見て見ぬふりしててごめんな。
いいってことです。
What happened to the child who she attacked?
確かあの後すぐに引っ越してったんだよな。
Yeah, I would get the fuck out of town forever. Other people nod.
担任の先生も他に転任になったんじゃなかったか。
They did?
アトリちゃん、またうちの店に寄ってくれよ。
ありがとうです。サービスされに行きます。
学者先生、アトリちゃんのこと頼むな。
今度こそ幸せにしてやってくれよ。
Yeah, honestly. Yes, sir. They're all such friendly people. Or maybe it's being around Atri that turns us all into happier people? She does radiate, you know, that sort of good aura. You really are popular around here.
高性能ですから
Atri worked her hardest to understand and replicate my mother's emotions. As a result, she managed to learn how to give at least the appearance of having feelings. Now she's capable of expressing such a range of emotions. There's a certain irony to the fact that it took such terrible things to learn all of this, for the harvest to be reaped only after she lost her master.
何ですか私の顔を悲しげにじっと見て
I was just thinking about everything you've gone through. Here, have some melon.
はあいただきます甘くてとろけそうです
Honestly, we all live and learn. We all have to go through a lot of, you know, this and that. We have to make mistakes. We have to go through, potentially at times, irreversible events. But you learn from them. And if you could go back, yeah, you would do things differently. I wouldn't say there's too much irony in it. It's just that that's just how we all are. And Atri is, again, very close to a human than other humanoids seem to have ever been. We leave the market and head for the park. As pleasant as it is to have everyone talking to us, I wish they wouldn't do it in the middle of our date. All the time that we were in the market, we were getting called out to every few seconds. It's nice and quiet here, though. There are some families and children running around, or running about, but the park is large enough that we're relatively undisturbed. Atri walks over to the waterside. She slips off her sandals and dips her toes into the gently lapping waves.
冷たくて気持ちいい
She kicks up a great splash of water. The glistening droplets arc through the air, sparkling in the summer sun.
水っていろんな色に光るんですね
She kicks up splash after splash, delighting in the myriad tones of the ocean.
水だけじゃなくて空も雲も草も花も人が暮らす建物もこの世界には色が溢れているんですね
Are you only just realizing that? Your optical sensors are supposed to be far more sensitive than human eyes, and you never took a proper look before? Human eyes only have a limited range of wavelengths that they can pick up. Atri's eyes, however, can switch modes in order to pick up everything from infrared light to ultraviolet.
見えてはいましたけど感じていませんでした今こうして世界を見ていると私の中に心はあるんだなって思います目に映るものがみんな
Even if she was receiving the data from her optical sensors, she wasn't conscious of how they could make her feel. Now that she's aware of her emotions, she can finally appreciate the beauty of the world. Right now, she's learning that at a great speed. Wonderful, isn't it?
はいですでもいいことばかりじゃないですね
What do you mean?
今まで気づかずにいた悪いことも感じるようになってしまいました
Don't think about Yasuda now. He just wanted someone to blame for his own failure. A person like that, so full of hatred, often has a deep well of emptiness inside themselves. I would know, as someone who ran away to this town trying to blame the entire world for his own patheticness. A man just trying to protect his own heart from breaking under the weight of his sadness and the troubles he had faced. Maybe I could have become a shell just like Yasuda.
あいつはぶっちめたのでもういいです
She kicks the waves again, this time in anger. Seems like she's still mad at him. I mean, you could think of Yasuda as the potential, yeah, for sure, of what Natsuki could have become. Not only physically, because, yeah, he's missing a limb and so is Natsuki, but I don't know. I mean, if he just went into a much more dark area in his life and, you know, didn't try to improve upon things like he ended up inadvertently doing so, getting closer to Atri and making friends here, you know, maybe. She kicks the waves again, this time in anger. She seems to still be mad at him. Remind me not to get on her bad side, which we were there at one point. So what do you mean the bad things? I can't think of anything from today that she could be talking about.
シーナ様です。
My mother.
ずっとわからなかったことがあったんです。シーナ様の命を脅かした人をぶっちめたとき、
I didn't want this. You monster.
怯えたみたいな顔をして私を睨んでました。ずっと考えていました。憎悪だったんですね。
Wasn't she just scared? She was frightened of you.
私はシーナ様に嫌われていたんだなって。だって連れて行かれる私を見て化け物って呼んだんですよ。
She smiles bleakly, a tear forming in her eye. She doesn't seem to realize as it trickles down her cheek. I don't think she even realizes that she's sad. She's just not used to having this well of emotions inside herself yet. At this rate, she'll live out her last days in misery. I haven't saved her yet. I've just helped her to discover her own emotions. That's no good if the only emotion she's feeling is sadness. Oh yeah, wasn't there something that you wanted to talk to me about? She suddenly freezes up.
それはですね。
Yeah, let's snap you back to reality here, Atri. She stares down at the ground, fidgeting with the hem of her skirt.
私、やっぱなしで。
Nope, not allowed. She turns away and squats down, holding her head in her hands. Her skirt dips into the lapping waves.
私はとんだポンコツです。すみません、みなも部長。
In that case, let me say something instead.
なんでしょう。
Oh, we're getting cut off here. What's going on? At the moment I open my mouth, a ball comes rolling over to her. One of the children playing nearby runs over to pick it up.
はい。
She hands it to him, and he runs off towards his mother. She waves over at us. Atri stands motionless, staring over at them. Atri?
今日はもう帰りましょう。
She slips her feet into her sandals. I have no idea what's going on inside of that robotic brain of hers, but I'm sure there's huge conflict. We walk in silence back through the market. Atri hasn't said a word since we saw the young family in the park.
夏くん、アトリちゃん。
We run into Minamo, walking through town holding a shopping bag.
ちょうどよかった。二人に話があったの。
Hmm? What's that?
リュウちゃんたちと話してたんだけど、アトリちゃんのお別れ会がしたいなって。私のお別れ会？学校でいろんなお料理作って。嫌です。
Atri suddenly screams out.
アトリちゃん、そんなのいらないです。
She sprints off. Atri. It's no use. She's already out of sight. Sorry about that. Since she opened up her emotions, she's been a little highly strung. We should hold a party for her, though. I'm sure it'll make her happy.
でも、
Maybe not a goodbye, but maybe a thank you? She glances down to the ground, sighing.
お別れ会なんて悲しいよね。そんなの嫌だよね。
To have people say goodbye to you is a proof that you were alive in the first place. But at the same time, knowing that the end is coming may well make for a miserable party. In that case, how about this? Oh, what does he have up his sleeve? I'm back. She even here? Atri? She's curled up in a corner on the deck, holding her knees in her arms. There you are.
すみません。夏希さんを放り出してしまって。
Oh, it's all
私失
good.
格です。
No worries. Shall I teach you about what people do when they're upset?
どうするんですか？
They mope around and grumble out all their problems. It doesn't exactly solve them, but it makes you feel a little better. We call that venting. I sit down next to her.
私は夏 夏希さんと共に未来へ歩めません。もうすぐお別れしなくちゃいけないんです。そんなの
But look at it this way.
嫌です。
He has a potential future, a lot brighter now than when he, arrived here because of you,
何なんですかこれ。こんなに辛いなら心なんてない方がよかった。
Nope, not allowed. I've thought the same thing 1,000 times, especially since I fell in love with you. I've sometimes thought that it would have been better if I never felt this way. But to be honest, if you ask me, I can say this is for sure. I'm glad I fell in love with you.
どうしてですか？とっても悲しいのに。
Yeah, it's just gonna make it harder for him to get over her afterwards, but I really don't know why. I thought a similar thing almost every day after the tunnel collapse. That I would have been better off dying.
そんなのダメです。
Exactly. You were the one that saved me back then, weren't you?
私の方へ手を伸ばしていたので、挟まっていたコンクリートの塊をどけて救助しました。ですが、私は逃亡中の身でしたので、安全な場所に置き去りに。
That's why I never realized until yesterday. I take her hand. Holding your hand always makes me feel so at ease.
でも夏希さんのことはもっと前から知ってました。椎名様が大事にしてる人だという認識でしたが。
So you've been watching over me since I was a kid. According to her log, she even prevented another car accident for me.
最初見たとき、椎名様が新しいヒューマノイドをお買いになったのかと思いました。あんなに小さくて役に立ちそうにないものをと不可解に思ったものです。
Well, obviously I was a baby. They're not known for their usefulness.
大きくなりましたね、小さな人。
She strokes my head. It sends tingles through my entire body. Do you think it would have been better if I died back in the tunnel?
その質問は意地悪です。それに、夏希さんには未来があります。夏希さんの未来に私はいません。
Do you really think a future is such a valuable thing?
可能性が残されている分、過去よりは価値があります。
Better a bright future than a dark past, I suppose. She's been through so much. Her own master hated her. It's natural that she might seek to throw away the past entirely. To be honest, there was somewhere I wanted to go today. It's a little late though, so we'll go tomorrow.
どこですか？
You'll find out, don't you worry. Has talking made you feel a little better?
多少は本当に厄介ですね。
Tell me about it. Still, if there's anything worse than feeling sad, it's feeling hungry. It's just about time for dinner.
買い物に行くのを忘れていました。
We were going to stop by the store on the way home, but she ran back alone. Don't worry, we've got ingredients. I peeked a look at her recipes, so I know what she needs. Atri hurriedly wipes away her tears and springs to her feet.
私に任せてください。美味しい料理を作って、夏希さんの悲しみばかりの灰色の人生を少しでも彩ります。
Did you have to put it like that? It's not been that bad. Atri makes a fantastic dinner that succeeds in brightening up my sad, lonely life. Oh, yeehaw. I don't know what my dogs are barking about, by the way. Sorry about all that. The next day, I fire up the ship's engine and get ready to take to the seas. Cast off the mooring lines.
ラジャーです。
Atri undoes the ropes connecting to the ship to the pier. The engines get up to speed and we weigh anchor. I will have to say I'm very surprised that this boat and the submarine is held together for the entirety of this story. Rather than heading out into deep waters, we follow the coastline. We can see the school and the road that we take to get to class every day. There's a strange peace to seeing all of these familiar places from the ocean. Atri sits next to me in the cockpit, looking bored.
どこへ行くんですか？
You'll see.
もう
She seems a little uneasy. Oh yeah, what did you want to talk to me about anyway? You said yesterday that you had something to tell me. She suddenly starts to fidget in her seat.
そんな昔のこと忘れてしまいました。
Oh no, she's feigning ignorance.
物忘れがひどいので
She has to be. Oh come on, you're fooling no one with that. I stare at her, silently waiting for an answer. She fidgets even more uneasily, not saying a word. Several minutes pass. We're almost there.
もうですか
I have no idea where we're headed, actually.
じゃあ私の話はまた後で。いやー今
Yeah, I
言い
knew
たか
she
っ
was
たのに
feigning
な
ignorance.
残念だな
If you really want to, go ahead.
ー。いえどうぞお構いなく。
Is it really something that hard to say? What on earth could she want to tell me? It's making me a little nervous. It should be around here. I check my map and drop the anchor. We're a little further out to sea than before, even though, or enough that the coast is far in the distance.
潜るのですか？じゃあ私水着に。
No need. We'll both be going down in the sub. No swimming for you. I open the hatch of the Serpens Albus. Can you unhook the crane for me?
ラジャーです。
Wait, we don't need to have somebody up here to, like, manage it? The two of us climb into the sub together. I should probably go see what my dogs are barking about. They've been irritated for, like, the last half hour. Go and see what's bugging them. Maybe. I am lazy.
私この中に入るの初めてです。
That is true. Oh yeah, now that I think about it, it is.
とても狭いですね。夏希さんとくっついちゃいます。
Yeah, but this is a nice scene. Honestly, anything with Atri in it has turned out to be really cute.
もしやそれを狙って水面部長の参考文献にもこういうのありました。さすが賢い夏希さん。頭脳プレイですね。
That's not what's going on here. I mean, I am glad to be so close to her, but that's just a happy side benefit. Okay, let's set out. I purge the ballast tanks, and the sub sinks into the ocean in a flurry of bubbles. The water turns a deep navy as the light of the surface gets further and further away. The hull lets out a little squeals of pain as we dive.
きしんでいませんかこの船。ずいぶんとお年寄りのようですが大丈夫なんでしょうか。どうして黙ってるんですか？
Because I really don't know the answer to that question. Dark, cramped, quiet spaces like this still terrify me. I don't want to think about what the water pressure down here could do if the hull gave up the ghost.
もし壊れても私は平気ですが夏希さんは溺れてしまいます。その時は私が助けますからね。
Even from like the crazy amount of pressure that's probably, you know, on the outside here. She clings onto my arm. Huh, I'm actually reassured by that. I'm a real sap.
それでどこへ行くんですか？
I told you, you'll find out.
どこでしょう。お楽しみ。あ、もしかしてカニですか？きっとそうです。
Yeah, I never quite figured out her, like, fascination with crabs.
カニは美味しいですからね。たくさん取って帰りましょうね。
Unfortunately, that's not quite where we're going.
カニじゃないんですか。
She's so disappointed that I kind of want to turn the sub around and head for crab heaven. I made a promise, didn't I? That I'd help you fulfill your master's last order.
シーナ様の最後の命令。
Can you still not remember what it was? Her old log should have filled in all the gaps in her memory, and yet her last order wasn't recorded in them. We don't have much time left. I'm starting to even think that she might already know what it is, or what it was, but she can't tell me, either because it's impractical or impossible. I asked you before exactly when you got the order, right?
はい
You got it in the tunnel, didn't you? That's what the notebook said. Yep. Last order. She said something to her, and then she rescued Natsuki. It was just before my mother's death. If it's not too hard, can you tell me some more details?
さすが夏希さん、華麗な頭脳プレイ。
Muttering to herself, she wraps her arms around my head. I was kind of just expecting her to talk to me normally. Not that I'm complaining.
シーナ様にこんな風にされました。
There's another thing I wanted to ask. She doesn't seem to be letting go of me anytime soon.
はい
This was after the tunnel had collapsed, right?
はい
And my mother held you like this.
はい。
She closes her eyes, thinking back to that time. Uh-oh. We're going back, guys. The tunnel was pitch black, but I can make out the shapes of humans and objects with my optical sensors. Several cars had been flattened with no survivors. I walked further into the tunnel, seeking Shina-sama. When I did, I heard a voice.
夏希どこ？夏希！
It was Shina-sama's voice.
シーナ様。
I hesitated. Making contact with her like this might cause her problems. I am a fugitive after all.
どこなの夏希？返事をして！夏希！
Oh. Oh, this is something else right here. The moment I touched her hand, she grabbed me and pulled me to her.
夏希無事だったのね。私は夏希ではありません。アトリです。
I clearly clarified who I was, but she did not let go.
よかった。
Yeah, she's lost it already. She held on to me desperately in relief. I realized that she could not hear anything. She still believed that I was Natsuki.
いい夏希。もしお母さんがいなくなったら、おばあちゃんを頼りなさい。あなたの将来は何にも心配いらない。あなたはすごい人たちの血を受け継いでいるもの。たくさん勉強をして、友達を大切にするのよ。いいわね。
Knowing that she couldn't hear, I simply nodded. Shina-sama smiled a relieved smile. And then... she's out.
アトリ、
Oh,
いるんでしょ？アトリ！
she called out for me.
はい、ここにいます、シーナ様。脱走して、ずっと私の後をつけ回して。
No, I don't think that was ever the plan.
復讐でもしようとしてたの？いいえ、違います。それとも、マスターを手助けするのが私の存在理由です。アトリ、よく聞きなさい。今からこの子があなたのマスターよ。この子とは私？
She pointed to the person in her arms.
聞こえているの？アトリ！聞こえています。
Knowing that my voice wouldn't reach her, I tapped her on the shoulder.
アトリ、
This is some really freaky shit.
本当にいるのね。はい、います。夏希をお願い。この子を私の代わりに見守ってあげて。
I tapped her on the shoulder again, and she went quiet for a moment.
アトリ、まだいる？
I tapped again.
もしこっから出られたら。発音が不明瞭で聞き取れませんでした。ずっとあの日からずっとあの場所覚えてる。一緒によく
Yeah, she was definitely losing her freaking mind at this point. A mix between the past and what's going on here in the present. I tapped her shoulder again.
かしこまりました、シーナ様。
But quick work with Atri here to, like, kind of understand that she wasn't really, like,
シーナ様は
you know,
息を
fully
引き取りました。
conscious. And so she did things, whether she meant to or not, probably the latter. It put her at peace. It did, you know? Despite the pain that she was in, she went probably without no worries. Hopefully. You kept her company as she went. My mother held her, mistaking her for me. Unable to see or hear anything, in that moment of bottomless despair, she called out for me.
夏希さん
I feel the tears streaking down my cheeks. Sorry, I was just thinking about it all. About how she thought of me until the very end. I screamed out, reaching for her, but she couldn't hear me, or come to save me. I felt like she'd abandoned me, but she never did. Atri wipes away my tears, still holding on to me. Her gentle touch gives me a sudden realization. Huh. So that's why you've always been so good at hugs. You learned from my mother.
はい、学習しました。シーナ様はあの時私をこんな風に抱いてくれましたので。
All along, it was the same embrace as my mother's.
シーナ様がおっしゃってた新しいマスターは夏希さんで間違いなかったですよね。
It sure seems like it.
あの時シーナ様は私を抱きながらこの子が新しいマスターと言っていたので大変混乱しました。でも私は高性能なのできっと夏希さんのことを指しているんだろうとも推
I
測してい
assumed
ま
that
したよ。
she was going to piece together that she was always referring to the person that she was holding. She interpreted as Natsuki, so therefore she had to draw the little fucking diagram in her mind. I remember now when I salvaged her.
そうなんですか。あなたがさっき海の中で出会った時からそんな気がしていました。やっぱりそうだったんですね。
A humanoid always recognizes its master. Even with her memories missing, she was able to remember me. I probably should have guessed that from how quickly you accepted me as your master back then. A humanoid shouldn't be able to change who their master is from someone else simply telling them their former master is dead. Atri grins happily, still keeping my head in her arms. I very much want to stay like this, but while we've been talking, we've arrived at our destination. Is it home? There it is. Oh?
ここは
Before us stretches out an incredible undersea landscape. Old country roads and shimmering sand tinted blue by the hue of the sea. And here, a small cliff which used to look down on a picturesque coast now underwater. The place where I met Atri. Oh, gotcha. Look, the lighthouse is still standing. I've always wondered what it would look like down here, but it hasn't really changed, has it? Atri stares out at that old familiar landscape through the glass. My mother's last order was to come here, wasn't it? She shakes her head.
違います。ここでシーナ様を待つことです。
Yeah, that's the impossible part. I see. So that's why you were here that time. When I rolled my wheelchair up the hill toward a desperate end to the despair that had filled the gap left by all I had lost, there was already someone there. I saw the back of a girl with long silver hair, fluttering on the ocean breeze. There was such an air of melancholy about her that, in that moment, I almost forgot about my own sadness. She was there waiting for someone who would never come. That is some sad shit, man.
どうしてここへ連れてきたんですか？
In order to fulfill your last order, of course.
無理じゃないですか。ここでいくら待ったって 椎名様は来ません。夏希さんはおせっかいです。こんなの悲しくなるだけです。
Tears pour down her cheeks. She really must be in touch with her emotions to be able to cry so easily. This place has always been special to me too, since before I met you.
私と出会うより前から。
Whenever I came to see my grandmother when I was little, my mother would bring me here. I've always loved the view from here. My parents' relationship was strained. My father was obsessed with his plan to restart space exploration. They never divorced, but they may as well have. Even as a child, I could tell that. Whenever my mother was sad, she would come here. I remember, when I was 6, she taught me that song. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that. Totally forgot about
お
it.
母さんね、寂しい時にはこの歌を歌うことにしているの。
Why?
一人ぼっちじゃないって思えるからかな。小さい頃友達がいたんだけど、その子がここで一緒に歌ってくれたから。
Oh.
でもお母さん、その子にひどいことをしちゃった。
What did you do?
私の代わりに怒ってくれたあの子を見殺しにしたの。でもあの子は今もそばで見守ってくれてる。
It's crazy that she practically knew all this time, that or she was batshit insane. Even now.
ええ、きっとどこかにいるわ。怖がることないわよ。お化けじゃないから。と、夏希がピンチの時には助けに来てくれる。ちょっとぶっきらぼうだけど、本当は優しい心を持った子よ。
It's crazy that Natsuki had all these fucking hints about Atri, but then didn't know who Atri was at the get-go. If I called out for her, would she come?
多分。
Then I'll give it a try.
そうね。いつかあの子を呼んで、あの時のことを謝って、それで。
God damn. Why do you think she told you to come here?
考えたこともありませんでした。
Maybe to apologize? Well, it's just like she said to me. She wanted to apologize to you. She wanted to make up with you and be friends again.
ですが、椎名様は私を憎んでいました。
You should be able to understand now. It can take people a while to process their trauma when they go through something terrible. I mean, yeah, look at Natsuki. The incident and the horrendous bullying that set it all off. The friend she lost who was just trying to protect her. Her own failure to stand up for Atri. No elementary school kid should have to deal with all of that alone. It was only years later as an adult that she could truly come to terms with it all. She told me that you were a good person. She understood that you only got angry for her sake.
そんなの今さら分かったって悲しいだけです。
But it's also going to give you closure.
昔から悲しいことばかり。私は悲しみしか知りません。
It's like there's nothing at all in her past that she thinks of as worthwhile. But I know that's not the case. Do you know why you're able to understand what sadness is, Atri? She shakes her head. It's because you already know what happiness is.
喜びをですか？
Yes, you were sad because you had lost those happy times. If you do not know happiness, how can you know sadness? Think back to those times. Why were you so sad?
椎名様と過ごした時間は幸せだったんですね。
Exactly.
だからこんなに悲しいんですね。もっと早く気づけてたら、やっぱり私はどうしようもないポンコツです。
That's probably really loud in this, like, tight enclosure that we have here. Happiness only exists because there is sadness. Who could know one without the other? The greater the happiness, the deeper the sadness when it's taken away. The proof of the happy time she spent with Yachigusa Shina are there in every single one of Atri's tears. Can I ask something of you, Atri? Can I hear you sing once more? Sing the song that my mother sang.
少々お待ちください。呼吸を整えますから。
And I'm sure you guys already know that I'm going to be muting that, by the way. She wipes away her tears and takes a deep breath. There's something so adorable about seeing a robot trying to control her emotions like this. Actually, I don't even remember if I muted the last time.
歌います。
I'm sure I did. I think I had to. I'm unsure. Oh yeah, I definitely had to have. I think I did. She sings the song I first heard all those years ago when we were on the boat. I remember I had to mute that. The underwater landscape before me sparkles, fading back to that time. My mother takes me by the hand and walks with me. The gentle waves bask in the golden light of the evening, and the lighthouse shines out into the distance. Come on, Mom, quickly.
待って、夏希。急がなくても海は逃げないわ。
Maybe this was why she sang with Atri here, in the hope that one day they would be reunited, here with all their happy memories of the friendship they shared. Yeah, it's crazy. Going back to what I brought up earlier, so she had to have been crazy because, like, they scrapped all of them. Oh, wait, no, it was known that one escaped. Okay, so she knew Atri was out there, probably. When she finishes her song, the seas fade back into darkness. This spot now lies at the bottom of the ocean. I will never walk hand in hand with her here again. Does it hurt to remember? Maybe this was something I shouldn't have dredged up from the past. But Atri shakes her head.
私、
There it is.
夏希さんが好き。
There it is, gamers.
夏希さんが言ってくれたのと同じ。
Thank you, Atri. I love you too. My heart swells with joy, but it also aches to see her cry. But why do you look so sad?
もう終わっちゃうから。私死にたくないです。夏希さんともっと
There it is, guys. There's the fucking depression. That's what I was looking for. Atri. We all knew it was going to happen. Yeah, let's cut that off. Yeah, we all knew it was going to happen. We all knew we were heading into this direction. Honestly, we all knew it from the fucking get-go. She buries her head in my chest and wails like a baby.
心がなければこんな風に思わずに済んだのに、好きじゃなければ辛くなんてなかったのに。
She weeps and wails, cursing the fates, crying out every last drop of sadness. Yeah, this shit actually kind of hits really fucking deep. At least for me, it does. We'll end the episode here, but we all have these fond memories somewhere deep down, I'm sure, right? Times that we can never revisit. Hey, we're back. Like, I'm sure for some people, or many, you know, their childhood homes, they don't exist anymore. They'll never be able to go back and have those fond memories with family members and friends at their house, or maybe certain locations, they don't exist anymore, or they don't have the means to go back to specific areas. You know, maybe family members are now lost, and maybe friends are lost. Those times that you spent with them, you'll never be able to spend time with them ever again. You know? And it's sad. It's sad to think about it, especially when you go back to an area where you used to spend all that time and you realize, kind of like how they did here, they'll never be able to have those moments ever again. Ever. Literally never happen again. That shit is sad. It's sad, but it's the realization and being able to look back on it and being able to cherish the memories, cherish the fact that you have those memories and you always will. And you're a better person because of the times that you've spent. I think that is deeply important. It is. Honestly, this whole year I've been very, not nostalgic necessarily, but I've been kind of throwing myself back into the past, thinking of the good old days whenever I was a kid, the places that I've went to and the people that I spent time with and the things we did. And, a lot of those moments, I'm sure, I will never be able to experience ever again. And if I could, I probably wouldn't have the same feelings as I did as a kid, So, growth is, it's a tough one growing up and moving on. It really is tough. But, yeah, it's not only just growing up, but it's also just moving on, It's, everything marches on. Time marches on. The world marches on. We're all with it. It's a tough one, definitely. Anyways, I just saw the name of the chapter that we are proceeding to, and I guess they're gonna try and proceed with a farewell party. I think that'd be a lot better if they just called it like a thank you party or something. Like, make it a little happier or something like that, because Atri's done a whole lot for everybody in this town, I'm sure. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for listening to my rambling there. It's just, I love it whenever I can have some sort of connection with what we're going through. Makes it so much more emotional. But yeah, I feel like we're really getting close to the end here, so buckle your seatbelts, gang. We're almost there, I'm sure. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.